University, correct? So I will start on the wall there with it's good old technology. No LED, nothing, no pixels. No, we just use this picture here to illustrate our positioning of KAIROS. KAIROS is a switcher, is a mixer, and we here illustrate a very typical kind of event. It's a rock concert, but it could be any kind of event where you have both on-site audience and remote audience. And so very typically what we do is having a crew here with a production switcher. Here let's talk about Ross, Sony, Grass Valley, this kind of switcher here that feeds a TV show, that feeds web, but for recording. In parallel, very often you have another switcher here. Let's talk about Analog Wave, Barco, Encore, Spyder, these kind of brands. That those ones feed the screens on site, the projector, everything for the local audience, the audience which is in the room itself. And what we propose is, instead of having those two main frames here with plenty of connection, with plenty of boxes and so on to interconnect them, just do it in one single frame. So this is where the KAIROS is positioned, and I will show you that we can do everything that both production switcher and presentation can do. But does not mean you have a single crew here in terms of operation. If you want 2 crews or if you want 4, is no problem. We can split the job between the different controls here. And so, but that's really where we position here as a center position with all this processing. So whatever you need to process, to mix, to switch, we got the KAIROS, and we propose the KAIROS to do all of that in parallel. Now I'm going to prove I'm not lying. So,
det kan vara bra att känna till.
Yeah, here we have it's a multiviewer. We got 4 multiviewers in the system. So if I switch to this one is very typically the production, so TV-like. All the sources 16:9, some mix effect here, and we do all this kind of transition over there. We have so-called DSK to bring text on top and so on. That's very typical switcher job with all the sources you may want. But we also have here the possibility to illustrate this possibility of doing the presentation job, which is very typically multi-resolution, so custom resolution, I should say. And that's what we illustrate here. So we have this 32:9 is 3840 by 1080 pixels, vertical screens left and right. This ribbon over there, this one is 4160 by 320 pixels. And that's exactly the resolution I have entered here. So if you just, sorry. If you look here,
så att de har ju Panasonic idag, så de vet ju vad det går för.
That's the menu I use here to create the scenes. You see, here. This is where I enter the resolution. So that's for the 32:9. If I go on the ribbon scene, you see that I have exactly the number of pixels I explained before. So that's the way we internally process. These are canvas. We process internally, and the main frame, which is here in the wall, that's the actual main frame running the show. It has a GPU inside. And the GPU is super flexible. The GPU does not care about 16:9 or so. We just give him X by Y pixel, and we multiply the scenes, the number of scenes we need. Then the question comes, how to output. Internally is no problem. Internally we are totally flexible. The question is a bit more how to output, how to reach a certain screen. And here we have different possibilities. So Now we got HDMI board. That's something new. We have developed an HDMI board. We have SDI board. We are very 2110 and IPMX fan, so we push a lot into that direction. But we know it's a transition. It's not something that will overnight. We will go from SDI HDMI to IP. It will take time, and so that's why it's so important to have HDMI and SDI to give a possibility to adapt, to change. Very often people prefer to change first the core of the control room, and the core of the control room is the switcher. So that's why we see customer changing their switcher to hopefully KAIROS and keeping cameras, because they cannot spend all the money at the same time. So keep your SDI cameras, bring them into SDI for time being, and we will see in 2 years, 3 years, then it will be time to change the camera. You will certainly go to IP at that time, and you will go 2110. The same thing for outputs. You may want to output, and here this is what we have. We output in HDMI. We push for 2110, but realistically, we have a NovaStar, we have a small NovaStar processor, and we need HDMI, and that's exactly what we have here. If we
IPMX, is it JPEG access you're using, or is it?
we are for time being we're IPMX Uncompressed. So we got the certification 2 weeks ago, and we are working on JPEG access. So it's not yet developed. I hope next year, in just 12 months, I hope I will show you in a year the JPEG access version of IPMX. Yes, but. Yeah, just to come back on HDMI here, you see that we got exactly the resolution I was explaining before, and this is due thanks to the custom possibility of HDMI, like this. If we talk about vertical and so on, but we also have a possibility that is sometimes very important to split in several 16:9. That's very typical if you output SDI. SDI is 16:9. I mean, no discussion. So here you see the 32:9 that I can cut here. So that's my canvas, that's my output. And I will choose exactly which part of the output I want. So here the easy thing is to say, okay, I have a 32:9, so I will output into SDI or into 2110 or into whatever I want to feed what I have to feed. Because here, as a switcher, we do not master everything. We depend on the receiver. And we know that there is a big variety of receiver, SDI, HDMI, NDI, SAT, and we support all of those formats. So internally, we don't have limit in terms of resolution, but we adapt both inputs and output to the existing world. We have plenty of effects and so on. I don't want to spend 1 hour showing everything, but just something, few examples like this. You see this kind of we call replay wipes here, which are audio is played at the same time. And maybe you notice that during the little show we had before, I was just triggering everything here for a simple stream deck. So we have large panel, we have extra large panel there. We use KAIROS. We also have this stream deck, and for the show, I was just recalling some macros. And the good point, it was macro, they are driving everything. So here they change all the 4 screens at the same time. They bring the logo, they bring the windows, and I go to the first thing. So you got a page turn, again, a ripple here, all those things, and that's very typical for a show. For TV is more live. I switch live, but for a show is prepared. I mean, and that's exactly what we have here. That's a very little one. If you want a bigger interface, we have this one. We just to finish with interfaces, we also have this touch control that allows to, you see here there is a program, and I'm just here cutting like this, then selecting another one here and making a transition. The good point of that, you don't need to be an engineer or a technician to run it. Here you have to be someone who knows the job of TD and so on. Here you can give it to an assistant, to anyone, I mean, he just have to count one finger and to press the picture he wants to cut. So that's super simple, and that's typically someone, when the core of the job is not technical video, that's an excellent way to give someone the possibility to feed a wall, to do something like this. Again, all those different control surfaces, they can run in parallel. On top, we have two APIs which are open, a REST API, a TCP socket API. If you want to develop, it's up to you, but for instance, those guys here, they have developed based on our API, of course. So that's a very short, condensed presentation without going too much into details about the production, but believe me, we can do plenty of things. We even have some crazy effects like this one here. It's just to illustrate the power. We have 32 layers rotating at the same time, 100% useless, but for a show like here, it's just to show that we can do a lot in terms of processing, parallel, and effects and so on.